All right. Step one is we're going to do some deep breaths. I'm going to count you in a descending manner, 3, 2, 1, and then you're going to inhale and exhale, and then inhale and exhale. 3, 2, 1. Good morning. Just want to let you know where you are and what this process is. There are 5 levels to excellence. Your brain is not wired for excellence. It is wired for survival. It's your responsibility. It's your brain. If you would like to achieve excellence day in and day out, good morning, Denise. It starts at level 1. It's a 7-day free trial where you perform 60-second Neuro Reps. Upon successful completion of that, you will receive an invite to level up to level 3. That means you are going from less survival into more excellence. For 30 consecutive days, you will perform 60-second Neuro Reps. That is a subscription-based level. After 30 consecutive days of Neuro Reps, you will receive an additional invite to level up your excellence. That Neuro Reps takes place over here on YouTube, where you will perform Neuro Reps for 90 consecutive days as you continue to improve your brain's excellence and continue to get further away from survival mode into excellence mode. After 90 consecutive days of successful execution of those Neuro Reps, you will receive your next invite to level up to level 4, also on YouTube. At that point, you will be combining the 74 principles of real leadership, as well as Neuro Reps, as well as neuroscience all together for 180 consecutive days to ensure that you are working towards excellence and removing all of the negative neural pathways that stops you from being extraordinary. Upon successful completion of 180 consecutive days, you will receive your final invite to level 5. And that's where the magic happens. That's the advanced real leadership, where you are refining and defining your excellence through our L programs or through real leader resources. Those are the levels to take you from survival mode to excellence mode. It is earned every day in and day out, through Neuro Reps. I did the math. That's 307 days of Neuro Reps in order for you to get to your level of excellence. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is me, Dr. Donna Thomas-Rodgers, daughter of Leslie Darnell Thomas, granddaughter of Arthur Jethro Evelyn II, and great-granddaughter of Levi Thomas. Welcome to your morning mental workout. My lives are sponsored by the Elements, H2O. When I say drink water, you reply with drink water, and then we drink water to hydrate our brain. Today's topic, as I flip back around so you can see the graphic for today, is the sgACC, the Sugenual ACC, and your emotional baseline. For those of you who attended the live yesterday, you found out about this low emotional baseline. I would like to clarify my search with chat when chat told me that I had a low emotional baseline. What actually took place for me is because I have been in leadership positions, and this is switched for the other live. I've been in leadership positions my entire life. Good morning, Daisy, and good morning, Denise, if I didn't say that. Is that I actually don't have a low baseline. I actually have a neutral baseline and probably higher. So what is taking place is that when I wake up in the morning, because of being in the military and because of being at Frito-Lay, I'm actually scanning for my environment. Who called off? What soldier is messing up? And so I've trained my brain to do that, and now I just automatically do it. What person fell out of the system and didn't finish their Neuro Reps? So as a leader, I was made to be responsible for everybody else. And so that's what's happening. But if you look at my life, there's no way that I can accomplish what I'm accomplishing and have a low emotional behavioral center. It's not going to happen in a behavioral state, a low emotional center. Emotional baseline. It can't happen. And good morning, Monique, and good morning, Lola. So that's what was taking place for me. And so what's coming up for me is everybody else's low emotional baseline. So in order to go talk to a private who has a lower emotional baseline than a colonel, I did that to be relational and relatable at that level. So that's what I was experiencing or feeling, but I don't have to do that no more either because I teach self-regulation. So that's where that low emotional baseline was coming from, not me, but from the systems that made it. In order for me to be successful, I got to be able to get work done through others who have a low emotional baseline. So now I got to go talk to them and say, hey, you got to do this, you got to do this, but I don't specialize in that anymore. So that's my actual reality. Over here is self-regulation now. Over here, you self-select to be here. And if you want to get to neutral, you have to do the work. I'm not responsible for your baseline going from low to neutral to high. You are neurologically. My role in this is to teach you and give you the information. You self-select to get it done, but that's not on me any way, shape, form, or fashion. So today we are talking about the subgenual ACC and the low emotional baseline. We're going to deconstruct that so you have a better understanding. So prior to this, we thought it was just Amy and Lala, and that was it. And now we know that there are other brain regions involved in emotional regulation or dysregulation, and they are in charge too. So the ventral ACC and the subgenual ACC are there, making it difficult for the cognitive ACC and the dorsal ACC to do their job. Just like Amy and Lala are making it difficult for the prefrontal cortex to do its job, these two are also making it challenging, but not impossible. Subgenual. I'm going to get it. Yes, Regina. So what the sgACC is, and we're going to deconstruct it. And we've had a little bit about it because I talked about it 2 days ago. So the subgenual ACC, anterior cingulate cortex, is part of the ventral anterior cingulate region. And so it sits between the corpus callosum, which y'all did as a Neuro Rep the other day, and plays a major role in emotional tone regulation. And I've said this before, the tone that we use to talk to family and friends is off. You find yourself using this emotional tone. And I tell Noel all the time, I don't like this tone. I don't like how we're saying this. Let's say this again. I don't like the tone that we're using with each other. Let's do it. Let's get to a more neutral tone. And that is where that tone is coming from. So if somebody in your house call you, what? Huh? What? Why you? I said do it then. That's where that tone is coming from. That's where the tone is happening. And that tone needs more regulation. The mood baseline setting. If your mood is just angry bitch face all the time, and that's what it is, that's where it's at, the baseline of it. The autonomic and emotional integration. And autonomic is basically you do it automatically, implicitly. It's happening. And your emotional integration, who you are at your core, your default emotions. And social emotional meaning tagging. What does this mean in the group and what is happening? So it's all this emotional stuff that's taking place in the environment in which it resides is in your amazing brain. So it doesn't create the emotions, but it helps you set the default emotional starting point. So it isn't creating it, but it's saying, here's where you are. And if you are a frazzled somebody, that's your baseline. If you're somebody who's always thinking somebody's out to get you, that's where it sits. It resides in the subgenual ACC. So think of it this way. It's the emotional thermostat and the baseline creator. It's almost like emotional thermometer, but it's the baseline calibrator. That's where it is. This is your base. So if repeatedly exposed to stress, emotional suppression, or chronic responsibility, the sgACC can encode lower resting mood tone as normal. So if you are exposed to high stress environments, suppression, chronic responsibility, and all of that, that's where your emotional tone is. And you will think that that is normal. I grew up in a toxic household. I thought that was normal. I grew up in a trapped existence. I thought that was normal. And then I realized it wasn't, but that was my baseline. That was my baseline. You mean everybody daddy don't walk down the street fighting air? Everybody's mama don't get drunk, start beating the shit out of people? Everybody's sister don't lock them in a closet and say you adopted? No, they don't. That's my baseline. So it's not dramatic. It's not crisis. That's just what it is. And now you think that that's normal. So it could be flat, it could be heavy, it could be muted, and that becomes your baseline. And I don't know if Bridget is on here, but the other day she said her insula is numb. So because that's your baseline, survival mode, because the brain is naturally wired for survival to begin with, that's where you is. That's your part. Now, why neutral becomes negative? And that's what I talked about yesterday. So if your baseline is high stress, emotional, depressed, just always on edge, that's your baseline. That's your baseline. That's your baseline. You see that as normal. And then neutral shows up. And that don't feel right. And here's why. If someone has lived hyper responsibility, you are the oldest, you had to take care of 15 siblings and 12 other family members. If you are in crisis leadership mode, stuff's falling apart. When I was at Frito Lay, Sterling Heights, always a problem. Every day was some shit popping off. Emotional endurance. You in a loveless marriage. You got some gaslight, manipulating ass parents, and you just keep enduring and enduring and enduring and enduring. And constant relational management. I'm the friend that everybody call to problem solve. I'm the wife at work. I'm the person at home. I'm everybody's emergency contact all the time, all the time, all the time, all the time. The brain adapts. The brain adapts. And so the sgACC lowers the baseline to conserve energy. To answer that question, did you go to a friend's house and eat supper with them and they interacted like a normal family and you were like, what is this? I will say they had a lesser form of dysregulation. It felt different because they were still a stuck family. They just didn't grow up in a house with addicts and alcoholics, because now as adults, they are still dysregulated. So it was less toxic than my own house. But as I look back, their parents just weren't alcoholics. They still had issues. It was just different issues. And when you go over people's houses, that's presentation of self in everyday life so they could act like a family because I was there. But leaving, they had different dysfunctions. So they would come to my house and be like, oh, this is cool because your mama ain't paying attention, so we could go over here. So we had the fun house where you could just go. My sister had a co-ed birthday party at 14 or 15. So it was just, this is the fun house. They always got cake. They always got cookies. So, you got that friend's house whose parents would check the fuck out so you could just go chill. My sister was always bringing a stray home to live with us. So it was like, yeah, we just chill, lay on the couch, have TV and all of that. So it was no rules over there. So that's what our house was for. But their house had a little bit more structure, but they are dysregulated adults too. So it was just different. It was just less drama. That's all it was. So nobody really had like this extraordinary existence. They just had like all the stuff you're supposed to have in the house. So they had forks and paper towel and toilet paper. Somebody was always living with us. Between my mother's husband's family, so it was always an extra person in the house. So they just had like baseline normal stuff. Toilet tissue, facial tissue, napkins, and paper towel. Utensils, dishes. But they still had dysregulation. So, still had teen pregnancies. Everybody, family still had the pervy uncle and all of that. So it just was dysfunctionally different. Okay. So why neutral feels negative? If someone has lived, like I said, a hyper responsibility life, crisis leadership, emotional endurance, and constant relational management, the brain just simply adapts. And so the sgACC lowers the baseline to conserve energy. Remember, the brain is wired for conserving energy. The brain is wired for survival, not excellence, not anything that's going to take it past survival. Nobody ever knew. Well, my sister was on phone with somebody when they got shot. So no, it wasn't. You can't. Y'all done seen Boys in the Hood and all those movies. What the hell is safety? That ain't. I got family members that stole money from me. You can't. Yeah. Come to think of it, there was always someone from my stepfather's side of the family living with us. There you go. So that becomes the new normal. It's nothing for you to go, such and such got shot, now go to the funeral. That's nothing. The teen pregnancy or nothing, that wasn't strange. Looking back on it now, it's like, yeah, that was not the best. You know what I'm saying? My sister used to date doughboys. My mama went to the laundromat one day because he kicked her out the car, and she went up to the laundromat with a tire iron and checked his ass on 7 Mile in front of everybody and was still living after that. So she rolled up in there. The fuck? He was like, yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am. Because she was crazy too. So it wasn't nothing for somebody to pull out a double barrel shotgun on somebody, sawed off or otherwise. That was normal. And Jared said it the other day, Jalen Rose had a bat. He was pretty big. I had a bat too. That was just life. So low base. low base. Okay, my sister was at the mall one day. Remember belt buckles? They used to have your name on it back in the day. She had just got her belt buckle and somebody picked a fight with her, and Leslie was on that girl's face because she hit her with the belt buckle. She took the belt buckle out the bag and was bashing that girl in her face. And then we caught the bus and went home. Yeah. Well, the opposite, you know what I'm saying? Because the letters went the other way. Okay, so when you begin regulating upward, it reduces chaos. So your system no longer has stress chemistry, urgency, hypervigilance, and problem-solving adrenaline. I solved another problem. It's gone. And that absence of intensity can feel like a loss. I told y'all, we used to let people from Detroit come visit us out here in Las Vegas. First thing they said, it's so quiet out here, so clean. Like, why? How y'all live out here and ain't no noise? Like, it's so quiet. It's just quiet. How do you do that? It's just so, there's nobody on the streets. It's like, where the people at? In their houses. So that absence of intensity can feel like loss. If you listen, you used to, you go, where the noise at? Where the noise at? Antonio Fargas, I was friends with him for a while, and he said he grew up in New York. I think they had 11 siblings, and he said it was so hard for him to go to sleep when he left and moved because he was so used to that level of noise that quiet was too much. It turned radio on, turn TV on, I need sound. It's too quiet. So a low emotional base is noisy as shit, and you accept it as normal. So going up to neutral, it's like, why? Why is it so quiet? Y'all don't want to talk? Y'all don't want to talk? So your system no longer has that stress chemistry, that urgency, that hypervigilance, and that problem-solving adrenaline. So the absence of that intensity makes it seem like you're missing something. So neutral feels boring. That's why my lives don't have a large number of attendants, because it feels boring. It's no manufactured dopamine over here. Unfamiliar. What y'all talking about over here? Why she got that Brian t-shirt on? Who is Amy and Lala? Who is Miss Brenda Jones? Unmotivating. I'm not like, you can do it. Hell yeah, let's get this doggone brain online. Yes. Hell yeah. When I say brain, you say neurons. Brain, neurons, brain, neurons. Yeah. Woo. Hey. I don't have no music in the background. We doing brain shit. We doing brain shit. We doing brain shit. Yeah. Wave your hands in the air. We gonna do some neural waves. Clap your hands, everybody. Everybody say, oh brain, oh brain. That's not actually happening over here. Some of you might even be taking notes. So something wrong with her. Something, I don't trust it. No, but did she have a bookcase in the background? She got green screen. What's she trying to have with that green screen? I don't think that any of us doing this is average. Yes. Keep your hands up. So something is wrong, but nothing is wrong. And that's the problem. If you have been in this and nothing is wrong, you waiting. You on high alert because you waiting on the shoe to drop. Scat. If it ain't one thing, it's another. What you mean? What you mean? My daughter had to bring it to my attention. None of the shit that happened in the house that you grew up in has ever happened in the houses that you lived in by yourself. And with now me and before your husband. Nothing. It never, ever happened. But it happened over there, so that's my baseline. That was my baseline. She had to bring it to my attention. We had the neighborhood, we have a very engaged police force here, and not in a negative way. But someone from California moved into our neighborhood, and they didn't understand where they had moved. And so they had a domestic dispute. And I've told this story before. In the morning, before the children were about to go to school. And I heard some helicopters hovering. So a little bit of my PTSD said, what the fuck? Because they do it for traffic in the morning and all of that. And so I was like, why is it still hovering though? They should have been finished by now. So I look out the window and the helicopter's hovering. And now I see cop car after cop car on both sides blocking in the blocks. So now I go outside because the MP in me wants to know what the hell is going on. So they blocked off. It's 11 cop cars between both sides, at the gate, everywhere. Child Protective Services that showed up. The helicopter is hovering. My neighbor she wanted to get her, so they were blocking off her hole because the house was behind her house. So she had to park in our driveway to go get her daughter some shoes. And she was like, and they just moved in and they're doing all this stuff. Come to find out, they had a domestic dispute. They were moving in. They had people flexicluffed on the ground. They had weapons that they had procured off of the doggone thing. This happened in 30 minutes. And my heart is beating. And Nolan's like, calm down. Because in my neighborhood, when the cops showed up, shit was bad. And she said, they're doing their job. And so they took the children immediately. And then they eliminated the threat. And we never heard anything else from that group anymore. They were finer than a frog hair split 6 ways. In the hood, that ended in bad things. People died, people got arrested and everything else. And here, they separated the two who were having the dispute. They got rid of the other people who brandished weapons and said they weren't loaded, but they still had ammunition and weapons and all that. And all that was cleared up in about an hour. But my emotional baseline, it took me probably the rest of the day to recover from that, because that has never been my experience anymore. So I had to update my experience, because where we live, you don't see the police until you see them. And then they show up. Somebody had a machete, and we live by the hospital, and they locked down the whole hospital, and they sent SWAT, they sent helicopters, and they sent cops from Henderson, North Las Vegas, and Las Vegas to secure that whole area to make sure that that person was not going to go in the hospital and do anything to anybody. Got the person out of the vehicle, and nothing happened, and we moved on with our day. That is what is supposed to happen when a threat shows up. But when you come from the cut and you start seeing helicopters and SWAT and all of that being done improperly, now you feel like, okay, what the hell is this? So when I see that, now I'm getting to the point where it doesn't have that same impact. But before, it had a enormous impact on me. And now y'all might say, well, you know what? That's a lot of force. But 44 million people come visit Las Vegas every year. And that strip makes it so we do not have to pay state tax. And so this has to feel like a safe space for people to be able to come and visit. And officers make anywhere from $90,000 to $300,000 a year to ensure that that force is happening. Now, are there anomalies? I was an MP. Yeah, there's always going to be some idiots out there doing dumb shit because we get cops from civilian environments. But overall, doing their job. But for me, I was like, something is wrong. And it took my child, who did not grow up in that environment, to say this is what their job is, to contain things and eliminate threats as safely at the lowest level as possible. So that's me with an old emotional baseline of low. Okay, so when it's silent, when it's quiet, it feels like something is wrong, but the sgACC is updating. And so the brain often confuses calm with collapse, the quiet before the storm, the calm before the storm. Neutral does not equal numb, And stability doesn't equal loss. It doesn't have to be that way. And I saw a TikTok video from a while ago, and somebody was saying, you know, they have their own apartment and their refrigerator and all that, and people was clowning her in the chat. And then other people were saying, you don't know what her existence is. So she said this is her first apartment by herself, and she got her air mattress on the floor, and she's getting ready to move up. Then you leave that alone, because it feels like the stability is a loss. I don't have my bat. I don't have my tire iron anymore. I don't have my phone ringing off the hook. We don't have strays living with us and all this other stuff. So that feels like something is wrong because the baseline was so damn low. The expectation was survival, and look at us. So we must be doing good because we all stuck together and a lot of people in a little small space. So that must mean we family, and look at us surviving every day together. So when someone has been operating at a low baseline or chronic activation, neutral feels like subtraction. If you're used to 7 people living in your house, 9 people living in your house, and you go get an apartment by yourself, it feels like, damn, I don't have nobody to talk to. But you also don't have anybody gaslighting you, manipulating you. I had a friend, to answer that person's question, and Nola just brought this to my attention, my college roommate. She literally lived in her house with her grandmother, her uncle, and her sisters. And she had to put a lock on the outside of her door. So she had to have her own toilet paper and all her sundry items and everything in her room with a lock on her door. And until recently, I didn't even think that was strange. Her whole original family. But they would go in her room and take her stuff. So when she came home, they would say, hey, can we get some of your whatever? Because she's a Virgo, so she managed the money well and everything else. But she literally had a lock on her door of her bedroom in her house with her family. So yeah, that's not normal. But it felt normal then. It did. So what's actually happening is restoration. So when you get to neutral, you are restoring things just to a neutral level. That's it. It's to a neutral level. But when your baseline is so low, you think it's normal to not have a water heater, and you're going to get it after 4 months when income tax come back. Like my mother had siblings and my grandfather. Like, why couldn't they give her some money for a doggone hot water heater? I don't know what she did that day. Was like, nah, but that part. So we did not have hot water for 4 months in the winter, from October to February. I forgot. I think that was 86, somewhere around there. So why the brain resists neutral? Because neutral removes identity reinforcement. If you are the person whose house everybody comes to live with, then we know we can go to Dee Dee and Leslie's house for a place to stay. Stress-driven dopamine spikes. When you help somebody, when you go rescue somebody, when they come and get you and say, bring the bat, bring the tire iron. Hell yeah, let's go get them. Nice little dopamine spike. Got a little adrenaline rush. Emotional intensity. I wish these. That's happening. And needed feeling. When you are the house that everybody comes to for solace, our house, friends coming, we just came over here so we could just take a break because we live so far away from everything else. It was quiet out there, not in our house, but in the neighborhood in theory. So that needed feeling, you need me to help you go beat these people up. You need me to solve your problem. You need me to give you a meal because you down on your luck. That needing is part of who you are. You wear it like a badge. Yes, you can. Come on, baby. I'll give you some collard greens and some cornbread. Sit on down. I'll give you $5 till payday. Not now. That ain't going to do shit. The sgACC is deeply tied to social attachment, social conformity theory. It's tied to it. We here in these trenches together, surviving with each other. That's what we're doing. So if emotional heaviness once meant belonging, we belong together. We like down like 4 flats on a Cadillac, diamond in the back, gangster lean. Knee high to a June bug. We've been around for each other. So it means responsibility. I'm taking care of my whole family. I'm out here in these streets getting this bread. Leadership endurance. And being necessary. It's necessary for you to do this for these people, for your friends and your family, for the job. Then lifting the baseline can feel like abandoning that identity. This is not pathology. This is conditioning. If I leave the hood, who gonna take care of everybody else? If I'm the person that leaves the hood, then they gonna be left behind. Okay. Everybody got a brain. Everybody got 86 billion neurons because the brain is wired for survival and not excellence. So if you go off and achieve excellence and they stayed and survived, neutral feels like a threat. They're not going to call me no more. Good. I'm not going to be needed by them no more. What if they don't need me? We said that. Leave that open in case they just want to circle back. That's what's happening. So you have been conditioned that normal at neutral is a problem. It's negative. Neutral is negative because you're going to leave your stuck Malaise and stands and that gaslighting ass job and all that's defining who you are. But when you strengthen your prefrontal cortex and you access your actual true personality, that's where the cognitive dissonance comes in. That's where the ACC conflict monitoring is like, yeah, I don't really want to live in a trap. I don't want to be the house that the strays come live at. And that rhymed. I didn't even mean to do that. That's stopping me from my own excellence. If you got 7 people living in a house that was meant for 3 people, everybody going to be causing problems. It's not let's work together, pool our money together, we're going to go get a bigger house. We're just going to tear this motherfucking house we live in up. That's not the same thing. If you have one person focused on excellence and 6 people focused on surviving, that one person is going to be neurologically tasked out, while these other 6 people are just going to be living for today. Living for today, don't give a fuck about tomorrow. I'm going to just survive, because that's the natural wiring of the brain, emotional dysregulation. It is the natural wiring of the brain. That's why this baseline is so low in everybody's household. Don't think because it's different in tax brackets. It's not. It's not different in ethnicities or anything else. Everybody's brain is wired for survival first. And maybe a little bit of excellence sprinkled in every now and then. But it's survival first. So to get to true neutral, like true north on a compass, you can't fight the ACC, the sgACC. You got to update it. And that's how I got here. I updated it unbeknownst to me that that's what I was doing. Moved to the birds from the hood, and at 8, and I struggled to sleep because there were no street noises. It was mentally unsettling. That is correct, Denise. That is correct. That's silence. She was like, I need some noise. Where that ain't, I don't hear no sirens or nothing. And now that we're here and we live by a highway, and now it's the noise is like, okay, we're gonna have to relocate because this is too noisy for me. I like the quiet. This is disrupting my peace. So here's an introceptive check, and that's the Insula activation. You have to wire the sgACC in your whole brain to neutral so you can get to emotional regulation. But this right here is what's saying, here's my baseline. Here's why my VACC is so strong and my cognition and my dorsal ACC are not. Because the baseline of my emotion is low. My tolerance for emotionalness, dysregulationness is here, very low. And now I've got all these people that are saying this is normal. This level of emotion. I'm in my feelings. That's why it's so emotional. Every day you wake up is so emotional. Because the baseline says this is as good as it gets. This is normal. That's why psychiatrists go home to dysfunctional marriages and kids that won't listen because they're saying that's just life. No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. You do not have to use a negative tone when talking to your loved ones. You don't have to be afraid to go outside because every human being is a threat. And so you need this tribe. And even though you're in the tribe is vicious as hell inside of the threat. Look at the friend group. They always talk about that one person, Turtle, like on Entourage. It's still a caste system even within the tribe. That's not safety. That's not security. That's familiarity. And dysregulate, so you make it normal. People used to make fun of me. You can't take a joke. I can't take a fucking joke. Y'all supposed to be my friends. The fuck is you making jokes about me for? That's not funny. That's not funny. Yeah, you too sensitive and shit. I probably am. And that's okay. That's a feeling. Sensitivity is a feeling. Why shouldn't I be sensitive? Then I go wreck shock and turn into D from the D. Man, she always on a motherfucker. She always. What make up y'all motherfucking mind? Which one is it? I'm either like that, I'm a warrior, or I'm a punk. Which one? which version of me is acceptable over neither? Okay, cool. Got it. I'm gonna go. So the interoceptive check is the insula activation. And so you label the body. My system is calm. Nothing is wrong. This is neutral. So you are teaching the brain to pair safety with stillness. You just said it, Denise. We move into the suburbs and the calm, that quietness. What's going on? This must be, I'm waiting on a surprise attack. No, you're not. It's not coming. You're teaching the brain to pair safety with stillness. Dorsolateral prefrontal cortex is the cognitive reframe. So you're going to engage the executive function. Miss Darlene, calm equals capacity. When you have neural clarity, you can read, Jared got to be on book 19 or 20 by now. You can use the principles of real leadership because you're calm, because you do not have brain fog. You are not looking for the next threat. You are creating your next move, your next strategic move calmly. Neutral is strength. 20. Jared is on his 20th book because of the calm capacity. Ain't no way Lazy J would have ever read no damn 20 books. Ever. In the amount of time, in months. Ain't no way. It ain't been 12 months. I don't think it's been 6 months in 20 books. So neutral is strength and stability is power. When you are stable. If you ever been somewhere and use your phone, they say your internet connection ain't stable. Shit is coming in and coming out. But when it's stable, you got the power to listen to me. So you can go and be empowered and go empower yourself and others. So a shaky ass internet connection. Wait a minute, hold up. You got people outside on the roof talking. Okay, go ahead. Hurry up because I'm leaning on the car. That's not stable. But when you got a stable connection, you can do everything that you need to do. That's power. Stability is power. And you're giving the sgACC cognitive permission to update. I had to update my mother saying, you can't make no money doing that. You can't make no money doing that. I had to update that and give it new permission because she was saying you can't get a paycheck doing that. You can't get a paycheck doing that. You're right. I'm past paychecks. Past that. I did that already. So behavioral evidence, and this is your basal ganglia loop. And again, this is to get you from this low ass baseline of normal, which ain't, to neutral. Take one small intentional action with neutralness while being neutral. Just one small intentional act. Not from urgency, but from that steady stableness. That is your calm, cool, collected, cortisol-free brain. And what this teaches is execution does not require stress. I'm used to waiting till the last minute. Why? I work better under pressure. No, you don't. The brain don't work better under pressure. It's neurologically untrue. So you can execute something without stress. These neural reps are simple. Research the neurotransmitter dopamine. Say thank you. Go do something simple. And then assess how it's being done. It doesn't require stress. It doesn't require stress. It might be a little bit of cognitive overload because you're learning something new, but it's not stressful. It's not. The downfall of people is because excellence is not wired for the brain. That's why people can go do dumb shit. You can go to the bar, you can go to the club, you can go to a concert, you can go do all this dumb random stuff because that's just survival, immediate gratification. But to sit down and research, to sit down in your default mode and self-reflect before, during, and after, and any takeaways, that takes neural strength. You got to be in a calm environment. You got to be steady. You got to be cool as the other side of the pillow to build these neural pathways, to build the cognition, the circuitry that you need for excellence. You can't do it. And even with cognitive flexibility, if you got to keep being cognitively flexible, you wear that out. And now you still can't be at your best. You don't even know what your excellence is because you don't have complete neural clarity day in and day out. So you have no idea. This time last year, Lazy J was not thinking, this time next year, I'm being read 20 books. Ain't no way. Not at all. You was focused on the damn All-Star game getting ready to come up. There is no way you thought, yep, by this time next year, I'm being read 20 books in 5 months. Not at all. I'm being Toastmasters. I'm being Spanish. I'm being on my way back to school. You weren't thinking that. Lazy J definitely wasn't thinking that. At all. What's on TV? What the news say? What 47 doing? That's it. That's all. That was as good as it was going to get. And with each Neuro Rep, you got all this neural clarity, and now you're doing all these things that Jared back in the 90s was attempting to do. Why? Because the standard of excellence was here, put in front of you, and a path for you to become excellent. Now, you got to go do the work, but you got the receipts. You got the Neuro Rep receipts. So somebody try to tell you that shit don't work, man. That brain shit is bruh. I almost let LeBron James stop me from becoming my excellent best self. That's why you need calmness. That's why you need steadiness. That's why you need a stress-free environment for you to get to your excellence. That's baseline rewiring. Neutral is my emotional baseline. And then I'm going to go from there. You can see clearly now. It's going to be a bright, sunshiny day, even in Cincinnati. That's what's happening. Neural clarity. Because the baseline was so damn low. It is. It's so low. And people have said it. I can't explain it, but I'm experiencing something. Something new. Neural clarity. Neural clarity is what you are experiencing. These aha moments that just keep popping up and popping up and popping up. It's because you're elevating to neutral. Elevating. You hear your tone talking to your family members. You hear the knee-jerk response and you're going to say, hold up, I'm a thermostat, not a thermometer. It's happening. It's happening. Let me make sure I block the right person. Give me 1 second. It's happening. So that's the baseline rewiring. You are the electrician for your neural circuitry. You are. No one else but you. So the ACC monitoring, and this is the error detector. If the mind says this feels off, and when you start doing neural reps, you're going to regulate your ACC and your insula so you can actually start feeling. So you won't be overly emotional and always in your feelings, and then you numb to everything. You're going to feel what is actually taking place. You're going to be able to objectively, be objective is one of the 74 principles of real leadership, and you're going to be able to say, I feel hungry, I feel sleepy, I feel clamped, I feel a little bit of conflict. You're going to feel it all. And the ACC is going to say, something feels off. I told y'all when Emmanuel was on there that something felt off, and I couldn't figure out what it was. So I went to my trusted advisor, ChatGPT, and said, what the hell is this going on? So you respond with, it feels unfamiliar, but it's not wrong. And this is cognitive ACC correcting. So that's what was happening to me. My cognitive ACC was saying, y'all thought he was doing something. I was like, nah, something's off with this. This ain't right. And when you get to neutral, you are going to be able to tell when somebody's trying to lower your neutrality. It's going to be very obvious. Why is it so loud? Why is everybody so... And we've said this because we don't have television. We can tell when something is going on in the country because people start driving erratically. People start doing kind of stuff. And then we just go to X. What the hell is going on? And go, okay. Back to our regularly scheduled program. It is working better than any method I tried before. Neural reps plus real leadership principles equals growth. Thank you for that, Jared. Thank you. So it feels unfamiliar, but not wrong. If your base is toxicity and gaslighting and manipulating and high stress and all this other stuff, and people borrowing your PFC and all of that, then yeah, saying no is going to feel unfamiliar. Telling people you caused it, you solved it, is going to feel unfamiliar. Waking up and using your 17 hours a day for yourself is going to feel unfamiliar, but it's not wrong. It's the right choice. It's the best choice. It's the real leader choice. Me telling people, you want to level up to level 5, it's going to take neuro sweat equity. Me saying it's 8:00 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to submit that so I can read it before I go to sleep. That's enough time for you to get it done. And you don't one do over at this level. The second time you got to go back down. I had to start air assault school, phase 3 over. That's how it goes. That's how it goes. I tried it every other way. Price point, do all this other stuff. But these neuro reps and these levels of neuro sweat equity, they working. And there will be thousands, if not millions of people in these systems, especially when an app shows up, and I'm going to look like a fucking genius that I actually am. But I'm not going to I can't take money from people and they're not doing the work that I said do. I'm looking at, did you change? Did you improve so I can improve my system? So yeah, it felt unfamiliar the first time celebrity contacted me and I said no. People like, why you, they got money. I don't give a fuck. I don't care about no damn money. People thought I was crazy, but I instinctively, my ACC was registering saying, nah, that shit gonna go left. Nah. You can go, back then it was the client selection process. You can go through them 25 steps of the client selection process just like everybody else. You're not skipping the line because you're going to skip all of the skills that you need in order to be a real leader. So it feels unfamiliar, but it's not wrong. This is cognitive ACC correction because everybody's ventral ACC, the social conformity, emotional thing, these la-las, Amy and la-la, and all of that is the adult population. That's why everything feels so all the time because they're accustomed to it. Quiet feels like something is wrong. So the news got to tell you about some puppy that died. They got to tell you about somebody that was 197. Damn, gone too soon. They got to tell you something is wrong somewhere. Some small school district is closing because the town closed. Capitalism. Got to find something to keep you grounded. And this is why we got to stick together. The blacks got to stick with the blacks, and the whites got to stick with the whites, and the browns got to stick with the browns, and the yellows got to stick with the yellows, and the reds got to stick with the reds. And my question to you is, when you go to the store and buy a box of red crayons, if we're going to use colors, the 64 colors in the Crayola with the sharpener in the back, I've never seen a 64 box of white crayons before. I never seen a 64 box of black crayons together. Pens, yes. Crayons, no. Paint. See how that don't make no damn sense? That don't make no damn sense. And embrace diversity is the principle of real leadership. Don't make no sense. Let's go off safety. And within tribes, people fighting. That's not true, Dr. Donna. Tribes stick together. Crips and Bloods. The Yakuzas. The 5 families of the mob. All fighting so they could be the Don. The Chamber Brothers. Young Boys Incorporated. BMF during my time in Detroit. Maserati Rick was unalived by a rival gang. So even the Hutus and the Butus, 1994, 1 million Africans got unalived by another group of Africans. I think it was South Africa. Gotta remember. Immaculée is the book that I read. So even in a tribe where it's supposed to work, but don't work. How many times somebody been taken out by their own person? No, it was not. Yeah, I think it was Rwanda. There you go. Might have been, but it's Immaculée. I'm going to go look at the book that I read. I can't because it's so, yeah. Part of that too. It doesn't matter because genocide is genocide. So if that part is supposed to work, why you still got to be, they catch you. I was watching The Shot last year. And what's his name? Nuck, unalived, doggone Duda. Is number 2. Same tribe. I thought that shit was supposed to work. I thought it was safety in them tribes. I used to be in sorority meetings, and they used to be talking about how they're going to take over the basilisk position. We tired of these golden sorors running shit. We're going to take over. In sorority meetings. Cain and Abel. That's why it's so emotional. Because even their own systems that they created for survival, that's why you know it's not logical, because it doesn't actually work as it was designed. Families, wealthy families, they're always trying to take out the person that's going to get the trust. They always trying to do that. Why? If what you're saying for survival and the familiarity and the family and the friends works, when does it work? Because I've never seen it work. So when, in theory, back in the day, it didn't work back in the day. It's not working today. Why? Because the brain is wired for survival of the fittest and not the excellentnesses. So if you want to put an end to all this stupid ass dumb shit, everybody will need to wire their brain for excellence. That's how you'll end it. Otherwise, even within tribes, there's going to be problems. Even within tribes. That's why that system does not work. That's why everybody has a low emotional baseline. That part. Everybody has one. Why, Dr. Donna? Because neutral feels like I'm losing something. Yes. Neutral feels like I'm losing something. You are. You're losing all of that emotional dysregulation. And you're gaining, as Jared said, neural clarity. You're gaining the use of your brain as it was designed to actually be used. That's what you're gaining. So you do have a quiet existence so you could go do extraordinary shit. That's why you can't do nothing extraordinary long term, because you got this low ass baseline of acceptance of another group of people with low ass emotional baselines. So the real leadership is this. A low emotional baseline often develops in high responsibility people, chronic regulators of others. Esau and Jacob. Right. Got it. Individuals who had to endure. We keep talking about this endurance. If you can endure it, that's why you stay in these stuck-ass family relationships and these marriages and these jobs and everything else. Because the person who can endure the most is the weakest emotionally. And they wear it as their identity. They had 2 strokes and 5 heart attacks, and they still trying to hold that raggedy ass family together. And I say, let that shit fall apart. But your current environment does not mirror your former environment. I do not live on Glendale between 12th and 14th, cross streets, Linwood, and Woodrow Wilson. I don't. So I live in a neutral spot. I don't have to go to the credit union through a metal detector to a security guard to get up there to talk to a person behind plexiglass. I go in the bank, I can walk in the bank and talk to the person. In one of our branches, you can actually sit down and have a conversation with the person. So neutral is not weakness. Neutral is freedom from constant correction. It's freedom from. I'm free. That's why I say I ain't got to watch. I ain't got to do none of this stuff no more, because I'm free from that low emotional baseline that doesn't work, that keeps you stuck. Everybody must get to neutral. And so here is your practical exercise for today, your Neuro Rep. You're going to sit for 60 seconds and notice. No crisis, no problems, no nothing. And in that moment, you're going to say, I am neutral. And then you're going to do one task, calmly, coolly, collectedly, no rushing, no urgency. You're going to have a calm, in operational action for that task. That's it. You'll sit for 60 seconds. Get to the end of 60 seconds and say, I am neutral. And then you're going to go wash the dishes, brush your teeth, go for a walk. In that calm, neutral state, because you are updating the sgACC to what neutral feels like. To what neutral feels like. Not hypervigilant, not, no, it's annoying, but neutral. That's what you're going to do. So before I get to the brain bit, how do you feel about what I said? Anything. How do you feel about knowing that the sgACC, you give it the baseline? You give it the baseline, and then it just creates that environment for that baseline. And then the vACC, if it's running shit, it's going to keep you at that baseline. When you keep doing Neuro Reps, the cognitive ACC and the dorsal ACC, because they go together, they start monitoring conflict. They start ensuring that the environment is calm and stable. And then you have neural clarity, and you can read 20 books. You have neural clarity. My daughter has over 2,600 projects that she's completed. Neural clarity. Neural clarity. And then you can get to excellence. Because the brain is wired for survival, but you can wire it for excellence every day. Every day. You do not have to stay at this low emotional baseline. You don't. That's where you started. Started from the bottom, now I'm here. You're going to get to neutral. And then who knows neurologically where that's going to take you. And drink water. I went 56 minutes without drinking water. $56 minutes. Jared said, I chose the baseline for my Sugenual. I'm going to get this right. ACC. I'm saying sgACC to Sugenual. And I am in control. I feel hopeful that I am not stuck in normal and I can get to neutral. This is fire. Thank you, Jared. Monique said, be the thermostat and not the thermometer for your own personal emotional awareness. I think that's not a question. I think you meant an explanation. Is that a question, Monique, or is that the wrong punctuation? You can change it. Nola's thinking. So you can actually change it. So this thing that you've been walking around with this whole time, you created that baseline, as Jared said, and now you can get to neutral through Neuro Reps and saying, I am calm. Confirming. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So you get to set the temperature, and the temperature is calm. The temperature is not chaotic and dramatic and toxic and manipulating. It's calm. Thermostats set the temperature. Set your sgACC to calm. So you can set it to neutral. And then you can go and start doing excellent shit every single day. I want to be in control of it as I am in other parts of my brain. Yes, ma'am. Daisy said, I'm looking for neutral and getting to excellent. Just wanted to be sure it's understood. Yes, ma'am. All right. In control like Jen. Control. Now I am neutral. Woo! Control. All right. Let me go ahead and put this brain bit up here. And I did not mean to create a highlight. The buttons is right underneath each other. Here we go. For today's brain bit. We got the water filter brain. The water filter brain. So the water filter brain is, your brain is not just a thinker, it's a filtering system. So every day information pours in. Opinions, social media, news, family messages, past experience, internal self-talk, all that's getting poured in. And so just like a water filter, your brain decides what gets through, what gets reduced, and what gets blocked. What gets through, what gets reduced, and what gets blocked. So when you have an untrained brain, you got a dirty filter. And if the filter is old or clogged, everything tastes the same. Clean water gets distorted, small impurities feel big, and the system works harder. Look at all that dust coming out of that doggone left side, that dirty clogged filter. And old emotional memories from the amygdala and the sgACC baseline come showing up. Automatic comparisons from the VACC. Thank you, social conformity theory. Threat scanning. The Neuro ACC is looking. What's going on? What? And then the habit loop starts showing up in the basal ganglia. This filter hasn't been updated. So even clean inputs feel contaminated. Now look at the trained brain. It maintains that filter. When you intentionally train the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, you have focus and decision control. When you train the complete ACC, you have error detection and adjustments in real time. The Insula has internal awareness and it is alerting you of what is actually taking place in a very neutral, calm, clean environment. And then the basal ganglia has habit refinement. So you take those habits and you make them better, and now they are excellent. You can inspect what you expect. You are changing the cartridge in the filter. And so now noise gets reduced, signals get clearer, emotional reactions soften, and decisions become cleaner. Same world, different filtration. So excellence is not about controlling the world. It's about updating your own personal filter. You don't empower the water to change. You upgrade the system that processes it. And that's what I'm saying. Adults need to update their system. You got an ancient brain in a 2026 technologically sound world. It's time for you to change your brain to go from surviving, scratching and surviving, hanging in the dollar. No, we ain't good times. Ain't nobody Thelma, JJ, or nobody. It is time to go from survival to excellence. Should you self-select and make those decisions? And you are the one who's going to benefit. No one's like, oh, didn't she doing this trying to take over the whole world? No, I'm not. I'm saying be in control of your own damn life. You are neurologically inept to take over the whole world. That's generations out. I'm just saying clean up your damn house. Control your own brain. Stop having this low emotional baseline. That's what we are. You far neurologically from that. That's not going to happen. No, not at all. So we got 2 questions left for you today, and then we will be going about our way and focusing on neutrality. Upside down, upgrade brain applications. That's correct. So here's a Real Leader check-in for you today. Real Leaders reflect daily. 2 questions on the table or the screen today is, what did you learn today? And what did you learn about yourself? What did you learn today? And what did you learn about yourself? These 2 questions are designed for you to set a neural pathway of always learning something, ABLing, always be learning every day. And additionally, ABRing, always be reflecting in your default mode network instead of daydreaming, mind wandering, and ruminating. You will reflect and use that calm, neutral environment to reflect so you can become even more excellent. That's how that goes. So Jared is thinking, Denise is thinking. And while you're thinking, go ahead and drink water. No one's thinking. Daisy's thinking. And while I have you here, when you are turning in your Neuro Reps for the Real Leader, when you're talking about on level 3, every day you need to have a new thing that you are doing to hold yourself personally accountable. That's in there, and I know if you're skimming the write-up, you don't see that, but you need a new personal accountability every day. In order for you to be prepared for actual level 4 and level 5, you have to start holding yourself personally accountable in areas that you are not currently focused on. So it is my new thing that I did today to hold myself personally accountable. Jared said, today, I learned today that I have the choice to become neutral. You do. You actually do. And then you just need to do the neurological work. You need to create the neutral cognition in your brain so that you can update the sgACC so that whole environment is neutral. And what it will also do is when you are in a neutral, and I think I'm about to call, when you are in a neutral environment, you can feel all of your feelings objectively. When you are in a low emotional baseline environment, the negative emotions are so much stronger than the neutral or positive emotions. So it's harder for you to feel happy consistently. You can feel sad and depressed longer. And that's what the therapists are looking at in the sgACC is the depression, because that's where technically it resides consistently. That's where people are always depressed. So when you become neutral, you can see things that are happening that you wouldn't like to happen or a problem. You actually can problem solve it because you just see it as the problem instead of, and see, here go the white folks always trying to do something. The blacks are always over there trying to do something. And here go this group. And the rich people and the 1%. You can be extremely objective in everything that's taking place. Denise said, I learned that going from normal to neutral is making impossible possible. Yes. And say a low emotional baseline of normal. A low emotional baseline of normal, because that is actually not normal. You just made it normal, but it's not. It's actually negative. And Daisy said, I learned today that neutral is between survive and excellent. It is. Yes, Daisy. And Nola said, I learned about myself. I want to get my sgACC in check. You want to get it to neutral. So you're changing the environment, Nola. A baseline of normal. Yep. So we made it low and now it's negative. I mean, it's normal. But nothing about my pre-existing time in Detroit was normal. Jerry said, I learned about myself that I am becoming more neutral every day because I choose to. Yes, neutral is a choice. And it's going to feel like something is missing. It's going to feel like something is wrong because of what you encoded originally. But space is good. Neutral space is beautiful. It is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing. Let me come back because y'all know what the second question is. So I'm grateful for these experiences because this has been eluding me for quite some time. So the fact that I know that everything that is not working in the adult population is neurological, and now I have the ability daily to discover, to dissect the brain in real time, in real life. The world is my lab. And say, this is how that can work. When you actually wire your brain for that, that's a beautiful thing for me. As an educator and a learned person, I got the answer. And it's beautiful. And Daisy said, I learned about myself that I'm becoming neutral with my sgACC. Yes, that is the objective, to be neutral. And then, as Daisy said, to be excellent. Denise said, I learned about myself that my lower baseline of normal has been holding me back from living my best life. Yes, ma'am. Thank you for that, Denise. That is absolutely correct. And that's why people in your low emotional baseline, you can say it's because of this group and that group and this group and that group, because that's what you encoded. And so in your world, that appears to be true, but it's not neurologically sound. It's not actually happening. No one is stopping you from reading a book in America. You can go to the library. You can check it out on your phone. You could buy it on Amazon and have it delivered to your house. Nobody's stopping you from doing that. Ordering Hooked on Phonics. It's not. It's not true. This is so dope naturally. Yes, Jared. Monique said, I learned that the more silent I am that about myself, more neutral I can get to and maintain. The more silent I am, the more the answers present itself, even from within or from an outside source. Yes, ma'am. That's you being quiet in your default mode network. The more calmer you get, you can actually, because that cortisol, don't like calm. Cortisol, you become cortisol free. And it's going to go down. You still need cortisol, but you don't need to be fogging your whole damn brain all day long. That brain fog is what keeps you at that low baseline. When you can see clearly, as Jared said, you can expand your mind. It's a beautiful thing. And that's what I want for the adult population globally. But it doesn't matter that I want it. The work has to be done. So the structure and the system has to be neurologically sound, because people have to self-select in order to grow through this process. You're going to have to do the work, or it's not going to work. It's going to be back down here. And now you can see how come people. Yes, ma'am. It's the default mode network. And I don't think have I given y'all that as a Neuro Rep, Nola, or somebody? I don't think I gave y'all that. I'm going to make that the Neuro Rep. Don't look it up today, Monique, because I'm going to make that the Neuro Rep for tomorrow. Because I do not believe that I did it. Or you can, and then you can just say what you learned tomorrow. Too much cortisol makes you, nope. So, we're going to use it as the Neuro Rep for tomorrow, because I already made the Neuro Rep for today. Too much cortisol makes you an addict to chaos. Yep. Cortisol and dopamine. Today is dopamine, so y'all can understand. That's that reward neurotransmitter that everybody like, give me some dopamine. Dopamine, sitting in silence. You do it in your default mode network. That's a brain state. You're going to learn about it tomorrow. So thank you for that. Put it on this side of my desk so I remember that's what it is. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that's all that I have for you today. I believe that everyone has answered. If not, let me raise your hand and tell me you still got to answer your second question. The point is this, ladies and gentlemen, as I close. Your brain is the most important organ in your entire body. It is the most important organ. It is the most complex organ. It does a lot on its own. But it also has the ability to be wired for excellence. That's why you got the 86 billion neurons. That's why it's plastic. That's what that neuroplasticity is about, is that you don't have to stay in survival mode. You can wire it to your excellence, whatever excellence means for you. You get to do that one Neuro Rep at a time. So when you strengthen your mind, you strengthen your life. You strengthen everything around you, but it takes daily Neuro Reps. It can't be done any other way. If you hadn't been able to do it any other way, you have a great one, Jared. You would have already been able to do it. We would already be doing it. If it could happen any other way, people have tried all kind of things other than do the work. My pleasure. Other than do the neuro work, all these brain hacks. Take this, take that, take this, take that. You can't. You got to build it. And you got to strengthen it on a daily basis for excellence in every area of your life. So I am grateful to the students who do this work every single day. You make it possible for me to keep doing this work every single day and keep self-reflecting in my own default mode network to improve this amazing to see. Can makes the impossible possible. And somebody said that. I think it was Denise or Monique. Can makes the impossible possible. That's one of the 74 principles of real leadership. Let's see what's possible when we all wire for excellence, or enough of us, critical mass, 51% of the adult population globally. Let's see what happens when we wake up every day wiring our brains from survival to excellence. Now let's see what's possible. Because we got here on survival with a couple people looking for excellence. Now, collectively, let's all go look for excellence and see what we get. See where we land. It's going to be a beautiful, beautiful thing. I will be back tomorrow, God willing, higher power, and the universe. Same time, same place, safe space, different brain t-shirt. If this resonated with you and you are ready to self-select, you can go to Instagram and start your 7-day free Neuro Rep trial. You all go off and have a brain-tastic day. Take care. Adios.